It seems from the early inquiries that there was potentially a mistake in intelligence here. Well, then let's have that explored further to find out how that happened, where the breakdowns occurred, and for nothing else, just to make sure that it doesn't happen again or doesn't happen at scale.
Indeed, because you're talking about one of the most advanced military and defence forces in the world, the IDF. So, and obviously they're not without flaws. They've had flaws in intelligence, which we saw tragically for Israel on October 7. But this is a major, if it's a mistake, as they claim it is a terrible mistake, well then it's a big one. 7 aid workers killed in this airstrike.
That's right, and we've got to be careful about believing the own rhetoric of being the most advanced militaries in the world. We're one of the more advanced militaries in the world, so is the United States, but that doesn't mean human error doesn't occur and you can't fix it. And also it's a given that democracies are held to a higher standard. We should accept that and embrace it. We don't give Australians a free pass on civilian casualty incidents in conflict, and we wouldn't give any other nation a free pass either. So it is important that we recognise that urban warfare is complex and difficult, but technology doesn't remove all of that complexity. If anything, it makes it harder and has a higher onus of responsibility for those in the decision-making cycle.
Do you believe this could be a tipping point in the war? We've seen that Israel already move to reopen the passage at the northern part of Gaza after its war cabinet met and after Biden and Netanyahu spoke off the back of this tragic incident with the aid workers, including the Australian. Is it potentially one where the United States have said, look, you have to start having a more humanitarian prism on your response to Gaza?
I think the Israeli citizens and decent people around the world recognise that this conflict will end when the vast majority of hostages are returned and Hamas has at least been degraded to the point that another attack like happened last year won't occur. Whether we're near that point or not is not clear, but this particular incident makes that task harder. But I do think if a full and proper inquiry is done and future incidents are reduced, well then we are maybe one step closer to the conflict ending in a way that is satisfactory to those who want peace and security in the region.
And that's right, because a lot of supporters of Israel look at a moment like this, and a lot of Israelis would be devastated by the situation where you have a situation like that and it undermines the legitimacy of the Israeli operation as they try and root out that terrorist group.
And we know that from our bitter experiences in Iraq and Afghanistan. Despite all of the technology and goodwill in the world, things like this happen and they certainly don't help. So where you can learn from them and improve your processes, you should. And if there is, after the inquiry, evidence that someone has either committed a crime or breached an order, and that's usually an offence with any military, well then those people should be held to account.
Liberal MP Keith Wolahan, chat to you next week. Thanks.
Thanks, Kieran.